Like right now, I'm in Mexico recording this whilst on holiday with my family, but still working, and I'll be here for the next 6 weeks. Can they do those things? Not just can they do them, because anyone can kind of apply for a sabbatical and take that time off, but can they do them whilst their income continues to grow independently of their time?
Today, we're diving into a topic that we're both very passionate about. It's about leaving our traditional 9-to-5 jobs to start our dream businesses. It's a decision and thoughts that a lot of us have, but so many people hold back from taking that step. So with Lewis today, I'm going to be uncovering why he made that step and quit his job, and also how he was able to take that leap. So Lewis, let's start off by going back in time a little bit. What was your life like when you had a traditional job before you embarked on your entrepreneurial journey?
Yeah, well, I was in the same profession or the same company for close to a decade. I think it was like maybe 8 years. And working in that 9-to-5 job felt like, it's kind of like you're stuck in a traffic jam every day and you're seeing all the other lanes of traffic moving and you feel like yours is at a standstill. When you're in traffic and you think like, oh, should I switch to that lane? And you're constantly like second guessing your path that you've chosen in life. And whilst it was that like tolerable mediocrity that they talk about, where it wasn't like I absolutely despised it or hated it, like it was good, it was a respectable company. As the years went on, I started to realize that because it wasn't unbearable, it was that it would be very easy to resign myself to a level of complacency, and for my inherent drive and ambition to start to just fizzle out because it couldn't be channeled anywhere. And so I could see that pattern emerging, and I could see the people who were further down the path than where I was in that corporation and where they were getting to and how they were dealing with life, and seeing the ambition kind of almost sapped out of them. Not everybody, but you just know, I think, when it's not the path that you want to be on long term. And whilst the traditional way of doing it, the kind of common narrative would have been to work my way up, to work on getting promoted, hit all my KPIs, my targets, maybe eventually get promoted to a director or global management role and, be flying all around the US and taking on a senior leadership role in this huge corporation, which sounds exciting, right? Don't get me wrong. The graduate in me who'd left university, if I was presented with that opportunity, I would have been very grateful and thought, wow, that sounds amazing. That's like, traditional corporate success. But when I got closer to it and I met a lot of those leaders and I sat down with them, after work and having drinks and stuff at the bar, I looked at them and thought, are the people in those positions truly happy? The money, of course, would be good, but do they have what I'm actually looking for deep down? Can they have that autonomy to do whatever they want in their day, completely guilt-free? Can they just go for a walk with their family in the middle of the day and have no consequence? Don't have to get on any calls, don't have any responsibilities in that sense. Can they catch a flight to an exotic destination? Like right now, I'm in Mexico recording this whilst on holiday with my family, but still working, and I'll be here for the next 6 weeks. Can they do those things? Not just can they do them, because anyone can kind of apply for a sabbatical and take that time off, but can they do them whilst their income continues to grow independently of their time?
Yeah, it's interesting that you were looking at that straight away and you put yourself in the position of people ahead of you and realized that wasn't where you wanted to be. And the more and more people I speak to, when you hear about people that quit their jobs, you expect to hear people that were just hating their jobs and it wasn't right for them. But actually more and more people I know that quit their job and start their own business are just in that mediocrity, and they're just tolerating something that they don't necessarily hate that much, but they realize it isn't where they want to be. So that's actually very relatable to hear that, Lewis, to know that you just knew there was something else out there and you knew what you were looking up to in terms of where you would be in 20 years wasn't where you wanted to be, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember bringing some quite innovative ideas to my company, into my role, and there being just so much red tape and bureaucracy around it. You bring all these great ideas and you say, what about using this piece of software? Or, I found that this iPad app, if we rolled it out, could do what we're trying to do as a team. And then they say, yeah, but it would need to go through like a third-party risk approval process, and that has to go to global, and that takes 4 weeks, and then you have to involve procurement. And I'm like, this is just like hampering my ability to do anything. Like you try to progress things and it just, it's no one's fault, but it's just that corporate red tape, because they have to be so cautious and risk aware because it's such a litigious world. They say that with corporations, they're like these big oil tankers where like to actually turn the direction, even by a few degrees, takes so much force and effort. And it just didn't feel very agile. I used to have to head up to the north of England quite frequently in my role because we had one office up in the north and one down in the south. And so I'd get on a train for 2.5, 3 hours up to the north of England. And whilst I was on that train, sitting there at 6:30, everybody's sitting there having their breakfast and then kind of having their coffee, trying to wake themselves up. I just stare out the window, and it was always like very, drizzly, typical kind of British winter weather, like dark grey. And I just think, is this it? Like, is this it? Is this me for the rest of my career? And I think it's very easy to have that tunnel vision when you are in the middle of it, because you're not shown any alternative. And so you wouldn't even consider the alternative option because you haven't been shown it. And even if someone showed it to you and said, hey, look, this guy over here runs his business and lives on the other side of the planet and does it in 4 hours per week, you probably wouldn't believe it because it's so far removed from your reality. And, in traffic every morning, sitting in traffic jams when I was driving into work, I'd listen to the same radio station every day. I was hitting the same traffic jams every day. I was driving into the same office, probably parking the same parking space every day if it was available. And everyone I spoke to at work seemed to have this feeling of like, I mentioned it at the beginning, the complacency. It's like that false sense of security in the 9 to 5 where they view their job as secure. But I saw it slightly differently. I saw the job as a barrier to my personal growth and to my own financial independence, because I'd seen what would happen if I committed my life to that path and worked my way up as high as I could possibly get to VP or CEO, and thought, well, does the person in that position have what I'm aiming for? And actually, I don't think they did. So there comes a point where you think, well, is the tree that I'm climbing even the right tree? Should I stop now before I get to the top? Because otherwise I'm going to have committed my whole life to it. So it depends how big you want to dream. And if you're willing to dare to dream outside the box and think, I'm aiming for something beyond what anybody around me can even comprehend, it's scary. But when you do it, you open your eyes to the other possibilities that are around you, and you start to see things that were there all along. And you realize, oh, okay, there's a whole new level to this that I haven't even explored yet.